The twin suns of Zyrel burned bright above the capital world. Their light shined on the golden towers of Verdun, the center of the Zyrilian Empire. Home of the most feared ruler in the galaxy, Queen Zelvara. She ruled with strength, sharp words, and unmatched power. Many said her voice alone could shake the hearts of warlords. Her enemies called her cruel, her allies called her strong, but all called her the fierce Star Queen. Inside her throne hall, the air was heavy with silence and fear.
Pillars
stretched up to a sky of glass, and glowing vines covered the walls. Hundreds of guards in silver armor stood along the walls. Her council of generals and advisors waited, heads bowed. Then came the storm. You dare come to me with these failures? Queen Zelvara shouted. Her voice was calm but sharp, like a blade. For human ships passed our border, and you did nothing. You wait like fools. You react like cowards. The generals looked down. No one spoke. No one dared. A young human man stood at the back of the hall watching carefully. Lieutenant Jason Reeve was not like the rest. He was not Zyrilian. He was human sent by the United Human Colonies to speak with the Queen. After the accidental border crossing, Earth wanted peace, not war. But now he wondered if coming here was a mistake. The Queen walked slowly across the room, her long black cloak flowing behind her. Her armor was made of dark crystal and shimmered, like 1,000 stars. Her golden eyes scanned the room like a hunter looking for weakness. Suddenly her eyes stopped. She had seen him, she said coldly, pointing at Jason, the human. Jason stepped forward, keeping his voice calm. Yes. Your Majesty. She moved closer, eyes narrowing. You come from a race that cannot follow simple borders. You step into my space without asking. Tell me, human, why should I not punish your people? Jason looked around. Everyone was silent. Some even smiled, hoping the Queen would punish the outsider and turn her anger away from them. He took a breath and chose his words carefully. Your Majesty, Jason began. I didn't come here to defend the mistake. I came to explain a hand, to ask for peace. Peace, she laughed bitterly. Humans always speak of peace, and yet they move ships near my territory. Why? Are you testing me? Are you trying to see how far I bend before I break? No, Jason said, shaking his head. That's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? Her voice rose again. To waste my time, to look at me and lie like the others. Jason looked up into her golden eyes. They were filled with fire and pain. She was beautiful, but not just because of her looks. There was strength in her, a deep power that went beyond the armor, beyond the crown. And suddenly, he said something he hadn't planned to. You were so beautiful, Jason said. The entire room froze silence. No. One moved. The advisors stared. The guards blinked. The generals looked shocked, some even afraid. Even the Queen stopped moving. Her mouth was open slightly, as if she was about to speak, but no words came out. Her golden eyes were wide. It was as if no one had ever said those words to her. Not like that, not in that moment, not with that voice. Jason didn't flinch, he didn't smile. He just stood there, calm and honest. The Queen stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, she turned her back to the room. Everyone except the human. She said coldly, Leave now. No one questioned the order. The room emptied in seconds. Jason was alone now, standing in front of the most powerful woman in the galaxy. She walked toward her throne and sat down. The high-backed chair was carved from obsidian and wrapped in glowing silver threads. Her eyes rested on him again, but this time, something was different. What did you say? She asked softly. Jason blinked. I said, You are beautiful. The Queen tilted her head. Why? Jason hesitated, then stepped a little closer. Because you are strong. Because you care deeply, even if you hide it behind harsh words. You're not just powerful, you're brilliant, commanding, full of life. She looked at him quiet. No one says that to me, she finally said. They praise my strength. They fear my anger. They bow to my crown. But no one calls me beautiful. Maybe they should, Jason said. Because beauty isn't weakness. Her fingers tapped on the arm of her throne. You speak boldly, human. I speak honestly, Jason replied. The queen stood again and walked slowly toward him. Golden eyes never left his. You come into my court, see my fury, and instead of fearing, may you compliment me? Jason smiled slightly. I think strength and beauty can exist together. I think you're living proof. For a moment, Queen, Zelvera said nothing. The fire in her eyes softened just a little. Then she turned away. You are strange human, she said. Very strange, Jason chuckled. I've been told that before. She walked to the large window at the edge of the hall. Outside, the twin suns were beginning to set. The sky turned gold and violet. Stay in the guest wing tonight, she said without turning. I want to speak with you again, soon. Jason nodded slowly. Of course, Your Majesty. He left the throne room, heart pounding. Behind him, the queen stood alone, staring at the twin suns. One hand gently touched her chest, where her armor pulsed with a soft blue light. She whispered to herself, no one ever said that before. Jason Reeve didn't sleep much that night. The guest wing of the Zerelian Palace was beautiful walls glowing with soft blue light, plants that moved slowly with the air, and windows that looked out into space. Yet he felt restless. He kept thinking about Queen Zelvara. She had shouted at her generals, crushed their excuses, and filled the hall with fear. But when Jason had called her beautiful, everything changed. Her voice stopped. Her eyes softened. For a moment, the strongest woman in the galaxy didn't know what to say. Jason didn't know what it meant, but he felt something had shifted. The next morning, a Zyrelian guard knocked on his door. The queen wishes to speak with you, the guard said, not meeting Jason's eyes. Jason followed the guard through quiet halls. The palace was less busy than before. It felt like the queen had cleared her schedule. She was waiting in a smaller chamber this time, a private room, round with smooth silver walls and a glowing ceiling like stars. A long table stood in the center with 2 chairs. She sat in one. The other was for him. Sit, Queen Zelvara said calmly. Jason sat. Her golden eyes watched him closely. You surprised me yesterday, she said. Most who meet me are afraid to speak. You were not. Jason shrugged. I was afraid, but I didn't want to lie. The queen leaned back slightly. What makes you think I care about lies? Jason looked at her. 'Cause I think you're tired of hearing only what people think you want. That made her pause. You see more than most, she said. But do not assume too much. I'm just saying what I see, Jason said. You're not just a ruler. You're a person. The queen stood and walked slowly around the room. Do you know what it takes to rule an empire, Jason Reeve? She asked, her voice low. It takes power. It takes control. It takes letting go of softness. I learned that early. Jason watched her quietly. I became queen at 17, she continued. My father was assassinated. My brothers died in battle. I had to take the crown before I was ready. She stopped walking and faced him. I showed weakness once, she said. I lost half a planet because of it. Since then, I speak with fire. I lead with strength. Protect my people with an iron heart. Jason nodded slowly. That's why they fear you. They respect me, she corrected. Jason met her eyes. Some do, but others fear you more than they understand you. Her face hardened, but not completely. You are bold again, human. 'Cause you're more than fear, Jason said. You're intelligent, passionate, and yes, beautiful. You don't have to hide all of it. There was a long silence. Then, to his surprise, the queen sat back down quietly. I don't remember the last time someone looked at me and saw anything other than the crown. She said. I did, Jason replied. She looked down at her armored hands. I used to paint, she said softly, before the crown. I used to write music, used to laugh with my sisters under the starlight. Jason's heart softened. What happened to them? It's taken during the border wars, she said. I don't know if they're alive. I'm sorry, Jason whispered. The queen nodded, her voice calm but distant. I buried those things. I became what I had to be. But sometimes I wonder if something was lost forever. Jason leaned forward. Maybe it's not lost. Maybe it's just waiting. Queen's golden eyes met his again. You speak like someone who believes in hope. I do, Jason said. And I think you do too. You just don't show it. Was a strange peace in the room now. No yelling, no threats. Just quiet truth. She stood once more, her back to him now, facing the starlight through the wall. Jason Reeve, you are the first human to enter this room. I'm honored, he said. She glanced over her shoulder. Don't be honored, be useful. I want to know more about humans, about Earth, not just maps and armies. I want to know what your people sing about, what they dream of. Jason smiled. Then you'll need time and tea. The Queen raised an eyebrow. Tea? Human tradition, Jason explained. We drink tea and talk about anything. The Queen actually laughed, just a soft sound, but real. I'll have my chefs study it, she said. Now go. Rest, but be ready. I will ask more questions soon. Jason stood and bowed lightly. "You wish, Your Majesty." She left the chamber. He realized something. Queen Zelvera wasn't just the fiercest woman in the galaxy. She was the Alonis. Later that evening, Jason sat in the garden area of the guest wing. The sky above was dark, and the twin moons of Zyril floated softly overhead. Plants moved with gentle rhythm, glowing in soft blues and purples. He heard footsteps behind him. The Queen had come. She wore a softer robe now, though her crown still rested on her head. She looked different in the moonlight, less like a weapon, more like a woman. "I told you I would return," she said. "I believed you," Jason replied with a smile. She sat beside him. For a while they just looked up at the stars. "Your Earth is small," she said, "but your people are loud." Jason chuckled. "Yeah, that's true. You fight hard," she added. "You build fast. And yet, you still sing." Jason nodded. "Singing reminds us that we're alive." She turned to him. "I do." "You sing, Jason Reeve?" "I used to," he admitted. "When I was young, what did you sing about?" He looked at her, really looked. Her eyes reflected the moons, about stars, about love, about finding something true in a world full of lies. She didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, "I once sang a song before I wore armor. It was about light never dying." "I'd like to hear it someday," Jason said. The Queen looked away. Perhaps they sat quietly again. Then she asked, softly, "Do you fear me?" Jason thought for a second. "No," he said honestly. "I respect you, but I don't fear." "You," she smiled just a little. "You are a strange man, Jason Reeve. And you," he said, "are not what I expected." She stood, cloak flowing behind her. "Rest now. Tomorrow I will ask about this." "Tea," Jason smiled, looking forward to it. She turned to go, but paused. Then she said, without facing him, "Thank you for what you said yesterday." "You're welcome." She disappeared into the shadows, leaving Jason staring at the moons. Something had changed between them, and the galaxy would feel it soon. The days passed, and Jason Reeve found himself becoming part of something he didn't expect. Queen Zelvera's world. She didn't treat him like an outsider anymore. In the mornings, she asked him about Earth's customs. In the afternoons, she invited him to her war briefings. And in the evenings, she sometimes walked with him under the moonlight gardens, asking questions he never thought a queen would ask. What does snow feel like? Is it true humans celebrate love with flowers? Do children on Earth believe in the stars? Jason answered every question with patience and honesty. To others, the Queen was still fierce and cold. She gave strong orders. She held her generals to high standards. But when Jason was around, something in her shifted just a little. The court noticed, especially General Torque. He was one of the Queen's oldest warrior stall, proud and heavily armored with red markings on his shoulders. He had served the throne since before Zelvara wore the crown, and now he watched the human closely. With suspicion, One morning, the queen invited Jason to watch a royal training session. Zarelian soldiers moved like living weapons. Their energy blades flashed, their wings opened and closed in perfect rhythm. The queen sat high above the arena, watching proudly. Jason stood beside her. "Your soldiers are amazing," Jason said. "They are loyal," the queen replied. "They would die for me." Jason nodded. "Do they live for you too?" The queen turned her head slightly. "What do you mean? I mean, do they serve you out of fear or out of belief? Do they follow because they love you or because they fear punishment?" The queen didn't answer right away. "You ask questions no one else dares." She said, "Maybe because I see you not just as a ruler, but as someone who deserves more than just obedience." She didn't reply, but her eyes softened. Then General Torque approached. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing forward. The queen nodded. "Speak in private, please." She gave Jason a glance. Later she said quietly to him, "Go enjoy the gardens." Jason bowed and left. But he noticed the way Torque looked at him as if he were poison. That night, Jason sat alone by the moonlit pond in the royal garden. Fireflies danced above the water. He expected the queen might join him like before, but she didn't come. Instead, 3 guards arrived. Lieutenant Jason Reeve, one said. "You are to come with us now." Jason stood slowly. "Why? What happened?" No questions. They led him through silent halls, away from the guest wing and down a long stairwell. Cold air touched his skin. The walls turned dark. He realized he was being taken to the dungeons. He stopped walking.
Is this?
One guard pushed him forward. "You're under arrest."
For what?
But they didn't answer. They locked him in a glowing cell. No windows, no furniture, just silence. He sat down, his heart pounding. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Meanwhile, in her private chambers, Queen Zelvara stood before a glowing map of her empire, but she wasn't thinking about war or diplomacy. She was thinking about Jason. He had seen her differently, spoken to her like an equal. And when he smiled, she felt something she hadn't felt in years' peace. Then General Torque entered. Bowing, "Your Majesty, the human has been detained." She turned sharply. "What?" "He was found wandering near the restricted towers." Torque lied. "We believe he was trying to gather secrets." "It's not possible," she said. "Do you trust him more than your own blood, Your Majesty?" Zelvera's eyes narrowed. "He is a guest of the crown." "Or a clever spy," Torque insisted. "The humans are known for their soft words. Maybe he was sent to charm you." The queen said nothing. Torque continued, "Let us question him. If he is loyal, he will survive." Her hands clenched, but she nodded. One day, nothing more. Jason waited in the cell, not knowing what would come next. He remembered the queen's laughter, her curiosity, her eyes in the moonlight. He couldn't believe she had ordered this, or had she? He heard footsteps. The door opened. 2 tall figures entered. Not guards, interrogators. They began asking questions. Sharp ones. "Why are you here? Who sent you? What lies did you tell the queen?" Jason tried to explain the truth, but they didn't care. They thought he was a spy, a trick. Hours passed, or maybe longer. He lost track of time. Finally, they left. The door closed again. Jason leaned back, breathing slowly. This wasn't what he came for. Queen Zelvara stood before the prison chamber door, a cloak flowing behind her. She didn't wait for her guards. She opened the cell herself. Inside, Jason sat on the floor, eyes tired but calm. He looked up. Her eyes widened. There was a bruise on his cheek. "Who did this to you?" she asked. "Your people," he replied. Quietly, she stepped forward. "You're not a spy." "No, I only told you what I felt." She stood in silence for a moment. Then slowly she knelt before him. "I didn't believe them," she said, "but I still let it happen. That was my mistake." Jason looked at her. "Then why did you come?" "Because I trust you," she said. "Because I care." Jason blinked. "Did you say I care?" she repeated. "You saw me, the real me. and I saw you too." She reached out, gently touching his cheek. A soft glow came from her palm, healing the bruise. Jason smiled. "That's a neat trick." She smiled back. "A queen's secret." Later that night, she sat beside him in her private garden. The stars were clear. No guards, no noise. Just the two of them. "I should not show weakness," she whispered. "But with you, I do not feel weak." "You're not," Jason said. "You're human, in all the ways that matter." She looked at him. He looked back. They didn't touch, but they didn't need to. Something deeper had already begun. End of part 3. A storm was building above Zur. Not in the sky, but inside Queen Zelvera's court. Ever since Jason Reeve had entered her world, the queen had begun to change. She spoke with more patience. Her fury didn't explode so quickly. She even smiled. In front of her generals, something they had never seen before. Some saw this change as a sign of strength. Others saw it as danger, especially General. Torquay believed the human had cast a spell over the queen, that his words were poison, softening her sharp edge and making her weak. And now he had proof. In the darkness of the war chamber, Torque stood. Before a private group of generals, he was found near restricted data towers. "What else do we need?" Torque growled. "But the queen released him herself," one general said. Torque slammed his fist down. "She is blinded. As human, he is not just a guest. He is changing her." But another general nodded. "He must be removed, quietly." What? Torque's eyes burned with ambition. "Let her weep later. We do this for the Empire." And so, a plan was set into motion. Meanwhile, Jason stood beside the queen as her ships trained above the capital. They watched from a glass platform that floated in the sky. Armored fighters zipped past them, leaving glowing trails behind. "You see that one?" the queen said, pointing to a black-winged ship. "She's the fastest in the fleet. She once dodged 30 missiles during a border war." Jason smiled. "I'm starting to think nothing here is slow." "Not even you?" The queen raised an eyebrow. "You say I'm fast?" Jason grinned. "Fast to scare people. Fast to push others away. But also fast to protect those you care about." The queen's face softened. "And what if I say I care about you?" Jason looked at her. "Then I'd say, I care about you too." For a moment, they just stood there in silence, the stars spinning slowly above them. Then a sudden beep came through the queen's communicator. A voice said, "Urgent. Message. A war fleet is approaching from the outer ring. Coordinates suggest it's the Vor Council." The queen's eyes turned sharp. Vor Council. Why would they come here uninvited? Jason stepped closer. "Who are they?" "Old enemies." She said, "They don't trust humans. Or peace." She turned quickly. "Come, we return to the palace." Within hours, the VOR fleet entered Zirian space. 50 large ships, armed and fully charged. They hovered near the planet's orbit but did not attack. Instead, a message was sent. "Surrender the human or face our judgment." The message was broadcast across the Queen's palace, heard by every advisor and soldier. Jason stared at the screen. "They want me?" The Queen stood still, unreadable. "They fear what you've done to me." "I didn't do anything, no," she said quietly. "But they think you made me weaker, and they believe I've lost control." She looked out the window, deep in thought. Her court gathered. Whispers filled the room. Torque stepped forward. "Your Majesty, they ask for the human." "Give him up. Keep peace." The Queen said nothing. Another advisor said, "They're too powerful. If we fight them now, we risk losing 3 sectors." Jason stepped forward. "Maybe I should go." "No," the Queen said, voice sharp. Jason faced her. "If this stops war, you are under my protection," she snapped. "I will not give you to them like a piece of meat." Torque stepped forward again. "But if we fight, we lose thousands." The Queen turned, her eyes blazing. "So you would throw him away? This man who spoke truth when no one else did?" She looked around the room. "I decide who stays. I decide who goes. I am queen." Everyone went silent. Jason took a breath. Zelvera, if this war starts, your people will suffer. She looked at him, eyes softer now. Then we fight smarter, not harder. That night, the queen met with Jason alone. They sat in the crystal garden, stars above, silence between. Then Jason finally spoke. You don't have to protect me. I want to, she replied. He looked at her. Because I'm useful, or because I matter to you? The queen didn't answer right away. Then she said both. Jason smiled faintly.
You've changed.
You know, she raised an eyebrow. Am I softer now? No, he said. You're fuller, stronger, real. She looked at him. Then fight with me. Jason blinked. What? We'll not send you away. But if you stay, you help me prepare. You know, human tactics. Teach me. Be my mind where mine cannot reach. Jason stood. You want me on your war council? I want you beside me. Jason nodded slowly. Then I'm not going anywhere. The next day, Queen Zelvara stood before her commanders. Jason stood beside her, not as a prisoner, not even as a guest. As her equal, she raised her hand. They think fear will bend me. But we will show them a different path. She looked. At Jason, he stays, and we defend him, as we defend our stars. The court shouted in agreement. Even those who doubted her now saw something different in her eyes. Strength, yes, but also fire, something bright and unshakable. The queen's. Orders flew fast. Ships were moved, shields raised, strategic points locked down, and Jason, with his knowledge of human fleet behavior, helped shape a defense they never expected. The Vor Council. It didn't attack that day, but the sky was full of tension. A storm was coming, and Queen Zelvara stood ready, not alone anymore, but with a human beside her. That night, Jason found her standing on the palace balcony. She looked calm. Even as war threatened, he stepped beside her. They still might come, yes, she said. You might lose everything. She turned to him. I already lost everything once. And then I met you. Jason's heart beat faster. You gave me something back, she continued. Not ships, not power, something I had forgotten myself. Jason gently reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Whatever happens tomorrow, Jason said, I'll stand with you. She nodded. And I with you. Above them, the stars waited. So did the enemy, but so did something stronger. The sky above Zerl was quiet, but only for a moment. The Vorwar fleet had not left. Their ships still floated in orbit like shadows waiting to fall. Everyone knew it. A battle was near. A single wrong move could begin a war that would destroy. Half the sector inside the palace, Queen Zelvara stood tall in the war chamber. She wore her full battle-armored dark crystal, silver-lined, shining like a blade under light. Beside her stood Jason Reeve, dressed in Zyrelian black. No longer a visitor, but an advisor. All ships are in position, said her officer. The queen nodded. We wait, but we do not kneel. Jason stepped beside her. Idea wheel. Hold them off. The defenses are strong. They will attack, the queen replied. They believe they can scare me into surrendering you. Jason looked at her, serious now. Then give them what they want. The queen turned sharply. No. Held her gaze. You're the queen of an empire. I'm just one man, she said. You are the only one who made me feel alive again. You reminded me who I am beneath this crown. But she raised a hand. Jason, I will not lose myself. Again, not for them. Not for anyone. He said nothing more. Her voice, calm but full of fire, told him her decision was final. Above the planet, the VOR fleet opened communications again. A tall VOR commander appeared on screen for eyes, sharp, blue skin, and a cold voice. Zerl, your time runs out. Surrender the human, or suffer. Queen Zelvera stood before the holodisplay and answered with no fear. This human is under my protection, she said. He is not your prisoner. He is not your threat. He is my guest. And more, the Vor commander sneered. Then you are weak. The queen smiled, but her eyes glowed. Then test my weakness. The transmission ended. Red alarms began to ring across the palace. "They're charging weapons," shouted a soldier. "Shields up," the queen ordered. "All fleets into defense formation." The sky lit up with energy. The Vor fleet moved fast. Their weapons fired in glowing waves, crashing against Cyrilian shields, but the queen's defense lines held. Her generals moved with skill. Her pilots flew with precision. Jason stood at her side in the command center, helping coordinate the response. "Pull back the eastern flank," he said. "They're trying to surround us." The queen relayed the order without hesitation. Every moment they stood together. They fought not just as allies, but as something more. The battle lasted hours. Both sides lost ships. Both sides pushed hard. But the queen's forces held their ground. Then, suddenly, a huge explosion rocked the palace. A shockwave broke through the upper shield. "They've hit our main generator," shouted an officer. "We're losing power," said another. "Shield's at 50%. Queen Zelvara stood, steady as stone. "Prepare for counterstrike," she said. Jason looked at her. "Let me go to the generator tower. I can help fix it. I know human systems. If they used human tech to overload it, I might understand it better." The queen hesitated. "It's dangerous," he smiled. "I don't mind danger. Not if it helps you." She gave a single nod. "Go, but return." Jason ran out of the chamber, heart pounding in the chaos of the generator tower. Sparks flew and smoke filled the air. Jason pushed through broken panels and shouting engineers. He reached the main core. It was glowing, red, overheated. He worked quickly, connecting backup lines, redirecting energy. Sweat ran down his face. His hands moved fast, then dashed success. The core stabilized. Lights turned green again. Power surged back across the city. In the command center, the queen heard the report. Power restored. Shields returning to full. She smiled, but only for a second. Then Torque appeared on screen. "Queen," he said, face full of anger. "The Vor commander is requesting final talks. He says he will come in person." The queen raised an eyebrow. "Alone?" "No, with his personal guards." "Well," she said, "I'll meet him at the summit tower." Jason returned just as the queen prepared to leave. "I fixed it," he said, breathing hard. "I know," she said with a soft smile. "You saved my city, and you saved me first." They looked at each other, not as soldier and queen, as two people standing side by side in something greater than war, at the summit tower, under a dome of glass stars. The queen faced the Vor commander in person. "You came here to threaten," she said. "But now you see what unity looks like." The Vor commander scowled. "You protect a human? This offends our honor." "I fear him because he changed me," she replied. "But he didn't make me weaker. He made me stronger. I lead with firebutt. Now I lead with purpose too." "He is not Xyrillian. He is mine," she said simply. The Vor commander stared. Then, slowly, he turned away. "We will return. But next time, you may not win." "Next time," the queen said, "you may not walk away." The Vor ship left. The battle was over. And the galaxy had seen something it had never seen before. Queen who stood for herself. A queen who stood for a human. A queen who stood for something more. Later that night, the palace held a ceremony. It was quiet, not loud or full of gold, but peaceful. Queen Zelvara stood on a raised platform before her people. Jason stood beside her. She raised her voice. "There was a time I ruled with only fear. But I have learned that strength without heart is hollow." She turned to Jason. "This man stood beside me when others turned away. He reminded me I am more than just the crown." And she looked out at the crowd. "From this day forward, humans will not be seen as strangers. And Jason Reeve will be honored as my personal advisor and more." The crowd murmured, not in anger, but in surprise and respect. Jason looked at her. "Are you sure?" She smiled. "Yes." He whispered, "You're still the fiercest queen in the galaxy." She whispered back, "And now I know what beauty truly means." They stood side by side, under the twin moons of Zyril, no longer just human and queen, but something new, something stronger, together.